Next, tributes are pouring in for the long-time presenter of the BBC's Look North programme, Harry Gration. He died suddenly, aged 71. Harry Gration was considered a huge figure in Yorkshire, but recognised nationally with his career spanning more than 40 years. He fronted many programmes, including the Saturday sports show Grandstand. The BBC's Director General Tim Davie said Harry Gration was loved everywhere, but especially in Yorkshire. Well, in a moment, we're going to be joined by the former BBC News presenter Simon McCoy. You might remember a feature called News Nationwide on Simon's show, Afternoon Live, here on the BBC News channel. Well, Harry was a regular contributor. Take a look at this.
We've been running this story all day, an opera sung in Yorkshire. How's that going down there?
Well, it's going down great, lad. I mean, it's bound to when you think about it. I don't know how you prepare, Simon, for your broadcast for News 24 during the afternoon, but I listen to opera. It gets me in the right mood and it gets me sort of psyched up to do all that we should do when we've got guests in studio, lad. It's what we do.
Oh, my word. Go on. So what do you do?
Well, basically, I just sing. I'm well known for singing. In fact, I've got a little ditty here that I'm going to give you a little later on. But I think what's smashing about this particular opera, it's written, of course, by the great Ian Macmillan, Barnsley lad through and through. It's a South Yorkshire opera, and I think it's going to take off. It's going to take off big. And I think that's something which we're rather proud of. This is my ditty. Forgive the singing, but I'm going to do my best. Hey up, welcome to Look North. We've got the news and sport, throw in some weather too. That's the cheapest we can do. As for News 24, they've got that good old boy. He's called Simon McCoy. He knows about royal joy. Anyway.
Oh, Harry, I don't know what to say.
Well, I'm joined by the former BBC presenter Simon McCoy. Thank you so much for joining us. Clearly, such a huge character he was.
Oh, just watching that just reminds you what a huge character he was. And the great thing about Harry, and actually Afternoon Live would not have happened without him, because there was a lot of pushback at the time as to whether regional presenters had the time to do it. But once we had Harry on board, I knew we might be able to make a thing with this, because he was so respected nationally and locally, particularly in Yorkshire. But there were several audiences who will remember Harry. Yorkshire, certainly, the regional presenter there. He worked for Canada, he worked for ITV there for a while, but he also worked in the South with Sally Taylor for BBC South. So there are lots of people who will have their own memories of Harry. And I think this was his trick, because everybody feels as though they knew him really well, and wherever he went, and I was having lunch with him 2 weeks ago in London, and people are still coming up to him, and he would do whatever. He would do a selfie, he would do autographs. The audience was all that mattered to him, and they loved him. And I've been in touch with his widow today, and the response on Twitter after his death has given huge solace to the family. And I just wish Harry could see the response to his passing, because he's going to be hugely missed.
And Simon, you clearly had such a wonderful relationship with him, and he was an advocate for local regional news. He really banged the drum for it, didn't he? Oh, my word.
And as did I, and do I, because regional news is vitally important to all of us. It's hugely important to the BBC, and Harry epitomised what that was about. And it was about when you're at home, in your home, wherever it is. Your regional presenter is part of that. It is part of home. And when you're away from home, it's one of the things you miss. It makes you homesick, if you like. And Harry was absolutely aware of that, and it was hugely important to him. And it was sad his career at the BBC ended in the way it did. It's not what he wanted. He had much more he felt to give. And in fact, he and I were planning on a podcast, because he still wanted to have that relationship with the audience. He missed it hugely.
And I mean, Simon, he had such a huge career, but if you could sum up a legacy, what words would you use?
Oh God, love people loved Harry Gration, and that clip you just showed there. I mean, I'm sort of welling up just looking at it, because you looked at him and he made you smile. He was the biggest professional in that, you know, he gave up holidays if there was a big story. Stories like the murder of Joe Cox, which hit him very, very hard, because he knew Joe. He's very close to, well, was very close to Kim Leadbeater. Her sister is now the MP. He was part of the region, and infiltrated all parts of it. Obviously, the world of sport, but politics. In fact, everything. You know, he was Mr. Yorkshire. He was voted Mr. Yorkshire a few years ago, and I was watching Look North last night, wondering if they were going to break the story. And right at the end, Amy Garcia had the toughest job I think any of us ever would have, in announcing the death of someone she'd sat next to and got very close to over many years. It's a really important relationship, that, and I think Harry really valued that. And when the BBC cut down its regional output in terms of going from double-headed presentation to single, he realised that was a massive hit, a massive loss. And all praise to Amy Garcia. That's not an easy thing to do when you've just lost someone who's not only close to the audience that you have, but close to you as a presenter. He will be very, very, very missed.
And just finally, he wasn't just a newsreader, like you keep saying. He was entrenched in this community. He raised so much money for the community too.
Oh, he did a three-legged walk with Paul Hudson. They raised hundreds of thousands of pounds. He raised nearly £1 million for many charities. Harry Gration was all about giving. He gave his life to his career in many ways. He's got 6 children. He was just enjoying family life, and this is the real tragedy of losing him so early on. He had a young child who he was so thrilled to talk about over lunch, you know, and the family life that he was really enjoying. But as I say, he still had so much to give. We were going to do a Stadler and Waldorf sort of podcast, the two grumpy old men, and we realised it was perfect for us, because that's exactly what we were, and we just had such fun, and it was that sense of fun, I think, that really came over with Harry.
Wonderful. Well, thank you ever so much, Simon, for joining us here. Simon McCoy there.